Hello. So I wanted to tell you about these two pairs of the Thursday Captain boot that I have. And I know there's a lot of videos about Captains already, particularly unboxing videos. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about them a bit is that I've had both of these for about 2 years. And so beyond just like right out of the box, I can tell you a little bit about how they've held up over time. And I want to talk a little bit about what I've done to keep them in good shape. And so to start, I want to mention that these are the Captains in black and in brown. And one thing I want you to notice is that the brown is kind of more of an ox blood. So it can be kind of hard to tell from the website, but the brown is not actually brown. If you're looking for something earthy, this is not what you're after. It's definitely an ox blood. There's a strong kind of dark red burgundy tinge to it. And so if that's what you're after, I really love the color of them. I think it's very attractive. But if you want like brown, 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 this is not the boot for you. Um, so, like I said, I've had these for about 2 years, and if you're not familiar with the Thursday Captains, there's loads of videos about them, so I won't go into huge detail on that, but they're at thursdayboots.com. They're $200 for a pair. All of the Captains are the same price. I think there's some like limited ones, but all the regular Captains are the same $200. And both of these are in the Thursday Chrome, like kind of Thursday's version of Chrome XL leather. They also come in a rugged leather set, and those are more of like a kind of like a suede or a nubuck texture. But all of these are, you know, the kind of glossy, shiny chrome. And so, like I said, I've got the brown and the black. They're both about 2 years old, and I think they're both in pretty good shape overall. I would say they've held up very nicely. The black, especially, this is the first pair of decent boots that I ever bought. I'm a professor, and part of why I got boots in the first place was that I'm on my feet a lot teaching when I'm doing my job. And so between walking to campus, being on my feet for 3 hours teaching a class, I wanted something that looked nice and professional and that I could move around in all day and not have, excuse me, hurty feet at the end. And so that was a big reason that I got into boots in the first place. I'd been wearing kind of black tennis shoes for most of my teaching, and they were comfortable. I could be on my feet all day in them, but they didn't really have that kind of professional look. And so I wanted something that was a step up, but that wasn't a fortune and that would last me a while. And so this is the first pair that I bought, and so I got them in black. I got them about 2 years ago, and I would say so far they're remaining quite comfortable. Sometimes people online have said that the Captains lose some of their comfort over time, but I would say, at least for me personally, that hasn't really been the case. They're still one of the comfiest sets of boots that I own. I'm going to do some videos about some of the other pairs of boots that I have, but these are definitely, like, if I know I'm going to be on my feet all day and I'm not going to get any breaks or anything like that, I'll grab my Captains before most of my other pairs of boots, even the more expensive pairs that I have. So that said, this is the pair that I had before I had any kind of rotation. When I bought them, I wore them every single day, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to let leather rest for a day. But I wore them every day for several months, and so they got the hardest wear of any of the boots that I have. Now I have several pairs, and so I have a rotation, and so I wear them maybe once or twice a week. But even so, they're still holding up pretty nicely. They're not banged up or scuffed up. They probably need a resole fairly soon, but other than that, they're in pretty good shape. And the only thing that I've done to them, I've put in a set of whiskers laces, kind of colored laces to add a little bit of color to them. They're pretty good. They're kind of thin. They're boot laces, but I'm not like super enamored with them. But I do like the color. So in any case. So like I said, I would say they've held up nicely. They're still quite comfortable, both pairs, and overall, I've been very pleased with the Thursday Captain. As far as maintenance, I've done a few things to keep them going. So one thing is I've used Venetian shoe cream, and about, I'd say, every 4 or 6 months ish, I use some of this on them. You kind of coat the boots with it after you take the laces off, and then you buff it off with a brush or a cloth, and that gets them nice and shiny. Keeps some of the blemishes and scuffs off, and And I also use edge dressing on them. So I have a brown and a black edge dressing that goes along the edges in case you kind of scuff the soles or anything like that. I don't put that on too often, but if I kind of gouge them or anything like that, I'll apply the edge dressing on that. Usually I do it with like a Q-tip. And the last thing that I do is I have Saphir cream, and I have it in a black and a burgundy. And one thing I'll warn you about, let's see, this is the black. The burgundy, when you open it, it will look purple, and you will think, my God, why am I putting purple stuff on my shoes? But it's actually the perfect color for Oxblood. And that's another reason, like I said, if you had like a brown cream and put it on the Captain Browns, you would be very sad because the colors would not match. The burgundy, the Saphir burgundy matches perfectly with the Captain Browns, basically, like which I said, are basically Oxblood. And so basically what I've been using for those is for kind of scuffs or damage or anything like that. The way that the Thursday chrome works, particularly with the brown, is that the color doesn't go all the way through the leather. And so if you scuff them or kind of bang them into something, particularly on the browns, you will see the undercolor underneath, which is kind of more like a light tan, like a whiter color, more like a natural color. And so if you scuff them, it will be pretty visible. And at first, when I got them and did that the first time, it doesn't take you too long, I was a little distraught because the color was not looking good. But like I said, what I found is if you apply a bit of the burgundy cream and then kind of buff it off, pretty much most blemishes like that, you won't be able to see them, particularly from standing up. If you're like sitting right next to the boot and have your eye up next to it, you can see the little nicks and scratches on it. But there's been several times where I've knocked the color off of the brown Captains, and I would say overall they're doing pretty nicely. The brown ones especially, they've been in a mud pit at one point. They were all covered in I'm in Indiana, so you get like this clay mud that's just like this horrible mess, and they were sunk down deep in it. So I got all that off and managed to keep the color in pretty good shape, I would say. So like I said, they're if you take care of them, they hold up pretty well. They'll continue looking good for you for a long time. And like I said, I'm 2 years in, and so far I'm still very pleased with them. They've been very good and comfortable boots. In need of a resole probably, but otherwise, alive and kicking. So in any case, thank you for tuning in. I have some other sets of boots that I'll do some reviews of and kind of compare them to these, and we can see what we think. So thank you very much.